Welcome to the redtag.ca area report. Guy who had some big games in the playoffs himself, Marshall Ferguson. Let's talk about the West semifinal because, again, two QBs who have different years. If we came into this year and we showed the BC staff Vernon Adams Jr.'s numbers and then told them they were second in the West, they might be surprised. If we showed the Calgary staff Jake Maier's numbers and told them they made the playoffs, they might be surprised. But here we are. When you look at these two QBs and the situations, what jumps out to you?
Yeah, I mean, the way that Jordan McSimic, I'll probably mention him more than I should in this discussion, but the way that he has been able to harness Vernon Adams Jr. and focus him and give him a playbook and a play style that makes sense for what VA likes to do, but also, I don't want to say restrains him, because it's not exactly the Kahari Jones Montreal throw it as far as you possibly can every other play offense. It's much more dialed in and specific. I think that's the biggest thing that jumps out to me is so much of it is his evolution and his growth mentally more than anything else throughout his career. But you still have to realize that I've been in Toronto this year on July 4th to watch BC against Toronto. Extremely highly hyped game. VA comes out and throws a handful of interceptions, a bunch of them just straight up not seeing the field well. The reality is that for Vernon, so many aspects of his past, I think, play into the way that he sees the field. And Jordan McSimic has been able to refine what he's actually asking him to look at and to look for. And he's not dumbing it down. He's just saying, here's what I need you to focus on. Let me worry about the rest. You got really good receivers all the way around you. Just put the ball where it's supposed to go, and guys will make plays. So that's how I see VA. For Maier, I've been intrigued by the fact that last year, I myself included, a lot of people looked at him and thought, man, this is a really, really boring offense. They're not taking shots. They're incredibly conservative. And then they started the year, and Maier was bombing it down the field. And I talked to him about week 3, week 4, and he basically said, we are taking those shot plays because we heard the complaints, and not that they're bending their style of play towards the fans, because that's a terrible way to play professional football. But he said, we know we need to get better at that. So they actively tried in training camp to hit more shot plays and to be more explosive. They've gone from that at the start of the year, having a lot of success, to not having much success with it. And again, they've kind of met in the middle of what they were in 2022 when Maier took over for Bo Levi Mitchell to what they were at the start of 2023. And again, they've refined. And it's the reason why, Henoc, you know this as well as anybody, week 21 of any team would beat the hell out of week 1 of any team. Because week 1, you have no clue who you are. But by week 21, you've refined and figured out, here's the receiver I'm comfortable with on this route. I think Maier has really figured that out as the year has gone on, despite the fact that they've had just a crazy number of receiver change and turnover and injuries.
Marsh, I'm looking at the BC Lions offense, and we talked a whole lot about the amount of weapons that they have. But one thing that we haven't really seen from that offense, at least for them to be effective, is that running game. And as a result, now Vernon Adams has to really almost be a hero, and he has the weapons to be able to do so. But you look at that Calgary Stampeders defense, they're going to be a good challenge for the BC Lions offense. I'm looking at that matchup, and to me, that is what is going to dictate the course of this game right there. The BC Lions offense versus the Calgary Stampeders defense. What is it exactly that the Calgary Stampeders are going to have to do in order to really put a stop to VA's offense?
I think Calgary's defense, what they do so well is that, very similar to what I talked about with Noel Thorpe in Montreal, Calgary doesn't randomly change who they are. Like, they've changed defensive coordinators a handful of times. They've maintained, for the most part, their defensive philosophy. Calgary for a long time has been, we're going to get after you on first down, and then we're going to take advantage of the fact we got after you on first down, on second down, when we've won first down. And I think for VA, this is the game within the game that you're speaking to, Henoc, that I think is going to be so intriguing. Do you make the right decisions on first down? The BC Lions have the highest pass play call percentage in the CFL on first down. If VA is going to have the ball in his hands, whether it be this week or if they win, they have to take on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. If you are going to have success and win playoff games, your quarterback has to be smart, accurate, and tough. And on first down specifically, knowing that Calgary's defense is going to send pressure and come after you, does VA make the smart, accurate, and sometimes physically tough decisions? Or does he have to consistently in the first quarter, quarter and a half, throw the ball away, take sacks? It makes for great theater, though, because so often we say the money down in the CFL is 2nd and 7+. I think the money down in this specific matchup, Vernon Adams Jr. and the BC Lions offense against Calgary's defense, is 1st and 10. And I don't care what part of the field it's on. The money down in this game is 1st and 10.
So the traditional numbers have BC as a heavy favorite. What do the QB numbers, specifically in this one, look like to you?
Yeah, so the one that I dropped in here, again, big-time throw percentage, I find to be so interesting that VA is still making big-time throws. It's his greatest strength, I think. He throws it hard, and when he is on and he sees it clearly, he can make as many big-time throws as anybody. So, again, from Pro Football Focus, Vernon Adams Jr., 7.7% of his throws are big-time throws. For Jake Maier, 4.5%. That's because Jake doesn't attempt as many. He's not as daring. He's more likely to be more conservative. Dropped passes. Jake Maier has 39 passes dropped this season. 39 of them, according to Pro Football Focus. VA, just 23 passes dropped. The reason I put that in is the next stat, adjusted completion percentage. When you factor in those drops, Jake Maier and Vernon Adams Jr. essentially have the exact same completion percentage on the year when it's adjusted for those drops. 73.4% for Jake Maier, 74.5% for VA. So he's 1.1% higher is Vernon Adams Jr., but that tells me that if Calgary can get an above average or above what they've had this year performance from the receivers, they're going to be in a really good spot. And then just like we were talking about Cody Fajardo and Bo Levi Mitchell with average depth of target, VA is like Bo. He's the gunslinger. He's going to send it deep. Jake Maier is similar to Fajardo. He's going to check it down. He's going to play more shallow. Vernon Adams Jr., 12.5 yards in air per attempt. For Jake Maier, just 9.2. So you've got, again, we started things off talking narratives. You've got a very similar identity between a quarterback in each of these semifinals this weekend who is not afraid and is going to throw it all over the place, but has to be smart and avoid turnovers, and another quarterback who's playing conservative, playing smart, but needs to take some shots down the field and break the narrative of their own conservatism. So that's why I'm just so interested to see both these matchups. But that's the breakdown that I gave you on Jake and VA.
Fascinating stuff. Maybe that'll change people's perception of Jake Maier after hearing some of those numbers. Either way, we will be bringing you back next week to talk about it and give us your perspective for the redtag.ca aerial report. Thanks so much, Marsh.